Okay, let's talk location. Where are you going to groom the dog? I know that some people tend to use their dining table to perhaps do the face, do little touch-ups. That wouldn't really cut it for a full groom, I have to say. Unless you can dedicate an area, I think it will be more difficult, because you need to have, if possible, the restraints for certain types of dogs. Like I said, unless you've got a dog that will just sit and let you do anything, which either takes a lot of training or you are very, very lucky, but there's not an awful lot of dogs that way. The dog will act very differently. Let me tell you that if the groomer has told you that your dog is an absolute angel in the groomers, they will act very, very differently with you. Dogs act differently with strangers, just as children do. And there's sometimes something about the groomers. It could be the table, the feeling under their feet. There's something about being at the groomers that they understand, okay, this is how I act here. With it being done at home, it will be something very different. So I would suggest having a dedicated space, somewhere that does not have carpet, because it will be extremely difficult to get the hair out of the carpet. So somewhere that has, you know, wooden floors or vinyl floors, somewhere that is well ventilated so that you can open the windows and the dog doesn't get too hot, because if it gets agitated, it will be much more difficult for you to groom him. Somewhere that doesn't have too many distractions for the dog. So if they're in front of a huge window where there's constantly dogs coming past and they're the type of dog to bark at the other dog, that wouldn't be advisable. It should be somewhere you can fit a table for the size of your dog and the restraining arm. And last but definitely not least, you need a room with plenty of light if possible. Don't do it in a room where there is no natural light, because although you can bring in lighting, you would need very professional lighting to be able to see exactly what you're doing. And so it's best if you can have a lot of natural light coming in and then add in a lamp. So you will need space for some kind of lighting, because once you get to scissoring the legs, to cutting the shape of the foot, you're leaning over, so you are creating a shadow. So the more natural light you've got, the better, and the addition of a lamp is usually required. Something else you need to consider for the space you're in is, where are you going to put your tools? Where are you going to put your clipper? Where are you going to put your scissors? Where are you going to put your comb? Where are you going to put your tissues, your wipes? Anything that you are using, where are you going to put it down? You don't want it to be too far away. You don't want it to be across the other side of the room, but neither do you want to use the table you are grooming on. You don't want to be leaving scissors and dangerous things on the grooming table, because they are dangerous, but also because they will get in your way. So you need to think about, is there a table I can put next to me that I can put all my equipment on? Or you could buy a hairdresser's trolley that you could maybe pull right next to you. That's what I did in the very beginning. I just had a hairdresser's trolley and it slotted in the corner of the room, and then when I was grooming I could bring it out. So think about the space that you need and how you need easy access to things, and also think about plugs. Hopefully you will take my advice and buy a cordless clipper, but if you haven't and you already have a clipper that you're using that is corded, you will need the plug point to be as close as possible, because you want to have as much room to maneuver with that lead as possible. You also need to have a plug point for any lights you're going to use, and you also need to have a plug point for the charger for the cordless clipper. And of course, if you are using a hairdryer, you'll need a plug for that also, that needs to be within reach of the table and to be able to get all the way around the dog. That's what we need to think of in terms of location. Let's next talk about what you need to consider in terms of mental and physical health.